Okay, my whole house generator is only putting out about half what it should be. Okay, I don't have the automatic switch or nothing. This is made by Generac. This is made in the USA. Okay. It's a good generator. Now I've had the same problem with 4, and it was a capacitor. Okay. This is a 14,000. I have a 2-story house with 2 air conditioners, a 2-ton upstairs and a 2-ton downstairs. I can't run both of them with this generator, but I can run one. Plus lights and microwave and TVs, of course. So if we lose power. Now, this is pulled away from the wall. That's why these batteries are just laying there. But these are the 2 batteries that I put. These are wet cell batteries. And I do have to charge them from time to time. I just make sure they have water in them. And the way I do that is I just take this little battery filler. I'll put links to all this. Fill it with distilled water. You just push it down on your battery. Okay, the lawnmowers have lead acid batteries, so I use it for that. Also, my other batteries, all the other batteries, my car batteries are not lead acid. My camper batteries are not lead acid. Okay, that was the exhaust. I had to disconnect that. The exhaust goes outside the shed, so I disconnected that. I pulled this away from the wall. Now this generator runs, I have it hooked up on natural gas. Okay, so the natural gas hooks in right here. And as you can see, it goes around, and there's my natural gas. Okay. Now I had to check and see, it had to have the right amount of flow of natural gas. So you see I have an 1.5 1.25 pipe that runs from here all the way across the top of the shed, all the way to the other side, and on the other side there's where my meter is. Okay. So I have plenty of volume, and this is a special regulator for the natural gas. So I just turn this on, natural gas goes into there. I press a little bleeder button. That's on the back side of this diaphragm right here. I just press the little bleeder button and it cranks right up. So anyway, I use this plug. You see this plug, this is what is known as a suicide plug. You have 2 males. If you plug this into power, this will be hot. So you got to be very careful, watch what you're doing when you're fooling with this. One end plugs in to the generator, and the other end plugs in to where I have my air compressor plugged in. This is a 220 air compressor. Now with that's plugged in, it comes into my box, and it goes to here. I have it off right now. And of course the air compressor is plugged in, so I'm using it for my air compressor. When I need power to the house, we lose power, I just unplug the air compressor. The 220 plug right there, plug in that suicide plug, and I'm good to go. Then this breaker right here will be the main breaker. Okay. Now, right now, power's coming in from the house, it's about 100 foot away. Comes into this. This is my main breaker. Okay, and all this has power to it. When we hit on generator, what I have to do, I take this. This becomes my main, and I backfeed back to the house. And once I get the generator fixed, I'm going to show you how I do everything. You got to be very careful doing this. Don't do this at home. The best thing is to have it hooked up by, have the automatic deal that turns on the, well, your generator comes on when the power goes out. But I don't have that. I have it rigged this way, because we don't lose power that much. All right. Hopefully we don't. All right, these two batteries, the reason why I got two big batteries, you don't need them. A small battery will crank this, or one more battery will crank this. Those two batteries are batteries out my camper. Those are lead acid batteries. They were getting kind of low a little bit, I thought. And that's a whole nother video on, it was actually, I did some troubleshooting. It wasn't the batteries, so I changed them out anyway because they were up. They were getting up in the age, and plus they lead acid. And so I put some maintenance-free batteries in the camper. So anyway, I've changed this before. I've changed one before, and here's it's a capacitor. Now here's the old capacitor that I changed last year. See how it's bulging? Okay. This is the new capacitor. It's a little bigger, made a little different. I'll put a link to the place that I get my capacitors, and there's a capacitor, which I'm going to get another couple more capacitors, just keep them on hand. Alright, I'll put a link to the place. You just give them the numbers off your old capacitor, and this guy can, this company will real good. They can tell you what capacitors that you need, and they'll send you the right capacitors. They don't look the same, but they definitely work. So anyway, last year this happened. So I took this 4 screws, 2 screws at the bottom and 2 screws at the top, and I used it's a 5/16 ratchet wrench to pull it off. Now I already pulled this off, so I know what the problem is. And as you can see, this is the new capacitor. If I can get around here. This right here is the new capacitor I put in last year. It has the bolt like on top of the mountain. Now that's the old capacitor. That's giving us problems. You see this bulge right here? This is coming out of the capacitor. It's some kind of it's hard as a rock. So the capacitor's busted. So that's definitely the problem. So this was the capacitors that came with it. This one and this bulge thing. That came with the generator. Now the problem I'm seeing is there's no ventilation. Now when I'm running this generator, it's up against this wall right here in my shed. I do have a window. If it's raining, I have to close the window. And I have a fan that I run, a box fan that plugs into the generator. I'll just plug the box fan in here, and I'll run that to cool off the generator. This is of course where I plug in the suicide plug goes in here, and the other end goes where I showed you. It just simply plugs in. Okay, and I got a real heavy duty cord here. You didn't need nothing near that heavy but something I had. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this cover doesn't have any ventilation, doesn't have any ribs on it, has absolutely no ventilation. So when it's closed up, there's no air circulating through it. So I'm thinking that's the problem, because you have your engine here, and of course this engine is going to get hot. Now all this is a Honda, all this is made in the United States, this generator is, and I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes in this cover, pretty good size, maybe 2 inch or 1.5 inches or something like that. I'm going to drill some holes in the cover so it can vent, and I'm going to take some screen wire and glue it to the inside of this cover, up against the holes, so bugs can't get in it. And we're going to use that for ventilation. So, say something about this generator. This generator runs on natural gas, propane, or gasoline. As you see, it's got a tank, and I'll never put gas in it. I promise you that. And the natural gas comes in right here. It comes off a special regulator for natural gas. Goes to this diaphragm. And this diaphragm goes to the engine, the carburetor, okay? And it worked great. Now it has to be adjusted. You have to play with it when you first get it. Now it also runs on propane. Now here's a propane tank if I need to run it on propane. And here's a special regulator just for this. And if I need to run on propane, I just hook it to propane. But I like to have a natural gas. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'll put a link to where I got the generator, also where I got these capacitors. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to change the capacitor, and then we're going to double check and make sure it works before putting it back together. Then I'm going to drill holes in this cover, get some ventilation going, and then we're going to push the generator back up against the wall, connect up the exhaust, and we should be good to go. So that's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and change this capacitor. It's got something leaking out the inside of it. Okay, we're fixing to give her a test. Okay, the generator, like I said, was putting out half. Change the capacitor. Now we plugged in. We have that big heavy duty cord plugged into the generator. Okay, it comes over here. And I have the heavy duty cord plugged in to where the air compressor was plugged in. Okay, which is this breaker right here. So I have air compressor and generator. Okay, now the power in the house to the breaker coming to the shed is off right now. Okay, so I have no power here at the shed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the generator. Okay, and I'm going to turn this breaker on. Now we leave this breaker on. Okay, I'm going to turn this breaker on. That's going to send current to the house, but it's not going to go into the house because the shed breaker is off. So the power will be coming into the shed breaker, into the house. And I'll have to kill, when I turn that breaker on in the house, I'll have to kill the main breaker with power coming into the house. Okay? So let's see if she's going to start. I'll check the oil. I'm not going to hook up. I got my shed totally open. I mean, I got doors open so it can breathe. So I'm not going to hook up the exhaust or nothing. I'm not going to put anything back together. Just make sure there's no tools laying on it so that'll vibrate off and fall on the floor. Everything looks pretty good. Okay. Now, in order to start this, we're on natural gas. Okay, like I said before, this is a special natural gas regulator that I bought especially for this. Okay, so I'll do is turn on the natural gas going to the generator. Okay. Now, there's a bleeder screw, bleeder button, I should say. Okay, it's right under here. Find it. Okay, there it is. It's actually right in the middle of this thing. You can see it. If I can get a little view. Okay. Yeah, there's a button right there. Okay. I hear gas coming through and I smell gas. Okay, just press that button that's right in the middle of that diaphragm. Okay, it's going to send gas to the carburetor. I've never had gasoline going in here. But anyway, it's going to send natural gas to the carburetor. Now, all I got to do is start it. A little button here. Don't have to choke it, of course, because they're not using gasoline. Go to the house. Okay, the circuit disconnect on the generator was off. So let's try it again. Now we got power. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to get my meter and test. We're on generator right now. What I'm going to do is get the meter. We don't have much running, just got a fan there. And yeah, what I need to do is I'm going to get my meter and make sure before I turn any air conditioners on or anything, make sure we're getting full power. Looks like we are, but I want to make sure. Okay, let's go get the meter. Okay, we're having 123 volts. This is coming from the generator. 122, which is good. Plug into an outlet. 122 volts. Before it was 60, I think. It runs on 110, but it doesn't hurt. It can go up to 150. Everything looking good. We've got, turn the TV on. What happened to the TV?
Takes a minute.
Takes a minute for it to come on? Okay. I'm going to kick on the air conditioner. While that's going on, I'm going to go over here and turn on the air conditioner. This is the downstairs central unit. Make sure everything's spinning. Yep. Yep. Unit spinning good. Fans working, air conditioning's working. We can only run one air conditioner at a time. They're 2-ton units. The generator will handle one. All right, that's it. Looks like it's working good. Okay. I took the cover and I drilled some holes. Pretty good size hole. And I put the metal screen under it. Got a hole there in the middle and a hole there. That's at the top. That's the bottom. I didn't go from the sides. I didn't go from this side to this side. And the reason is, I'm thinking that the air will flow, the hot air from the engine will go from forward to back. And I didn't want the hot air of the engine blowing through this cover. So, hopefully this will help. Any hot air get in here will rise and come up to the top. And this is actually the bottom. Come out this hole, and new air, fresh air can be sucked in here. So hopefully that'll help. So we're gonna go ahead and let this dry, then we're gonna hook it up. Okay. We got the generator back in place. And the reason it didn't work earlier when I had it, hooked it up in the house with this little switch right here. Little switch has to be up. And it's easy to knock it down. So it's hooked up. We got the exhaust hooked up. It's blowing out. outside. So it looks good, everything works good. We retested everything after putting it all back together. And then here's our little backup generator. We also have the suicide plug that plugs in where the air compressor plugs in. And then this other end plugs in to the generator. It's a little 13 horsepower. This is gasoline. This is just a backup for the other one. This one is a, I don't remember what it is. I think it's a 6,000. Yeah, it's a 6,000. This is a 6,000. And it works good. The only thing bad about this is you have to start it every now and then. You got to exercise it because of the gasoline. And you got to put the fuel stabilizer in it. I like to run it out of fuel and then just put a gallon in it and let it run to the gallon or half a gallon. And so anyway, that's what our generators, what we got for generators.